Hello everyone and welcome to Shifting Gears, and for rupees 1,38,000 ex showroom you can bring home the biggest Pulsar ever. This is the 2021 Bajaj Pulsar N250. This is the naked street fighter model. You can also buy the Pulsar F250, which is a semi-fed motorcycle, and that bike has been priced at rupees 1,40,000 ex showroom. But that is a separate video. इस वीडियो में हम बात करने वाले हैं इस बाइक के डिज़ाइन डिटेल्स के बारे में. What are the features that you get with this naked street fighter motorcycle? कैसा है इस बाइक के इंजन का परफॉर्मेंस? Is it exciting enough? Does it still retain the Pulsar DNA? Can you commute on this bike? Can you go out on your weekend rides? And will this bike keep you excited? How does it ride? How does it handle? And eventually, we will tell you if this is a good value proposition for you to bring home.
Yes, we know what you are waiting for, the stock exhaust sound, and here it is. When you look at the Pulsar N250, it is easy to make note that this bike has no resemblance to any of the older naked Pulsar motorcycles. Although Bajaj claims that this design is evolutionary, it looks very different. However, this is not a radical new design because there are somewhat similar looking two-wheelers currently on sale. Nevertheless, the all-new Pulsar N250 is an aggressive-looking naked street fighter which does look modern enough. What I really like is the floating panel design approach for both the Pulsar 250s. There is barely any visible nut and bolt holding on to the panels, and the panel-on-panel layout looks pretty cool. There is a good mix of colors apart from the body and graphics thanks to the contrast grey alloy wheels with rim stripes, copper finish on the engine casing, and silver panels to cover the tubular chassis. There are just two body paint options though, grey and red. Fit and finish is typical of the Pulsars from the past, and there is nothing to complain in this department. The black plastic bits though could have looked and felt better in some areas. Talking about the features, the Pulsar N250 gets a LED projector headlamp flanked with LED DRLs, LED turn indicators, and LED tail lamps. The tail lamp unit is a twin strip setup, but unlike any other Pulsar from the past, and the detailing here is quite good too. The tank extensions neatly try to cover up the oil cooler and connect very well just ahead of the knee recess area. The split seats are generous and will allow for a happy riding experience along with a pillion. Alloy wheels are of the multi-spoke type, and although they look similar to the NS200, these rims are almost a kilo lighter. What riders would appreciate is that the speedometer cluster still has an analog tachometer next to a blue backlit digital display. The speedometer cluster shows you plenty of information such as digital speed readout, digital fuel gauge, gear position indicator, fuel efficiency, distance to empty, and a clock. I really like this bezel-less infinity display, and among other telltale lights, you also get a shift light. But Bajaj is not offering you Bluetooth connectivity with this motorcycle. When mass market scooters have it, high-end superbikes have it, there is no reason for the Pulsar to not get it. The switchgear is backlit, typical of Pulsars, and they also have a contrast grey accent just to add a premium touch. With the naked Pulsar N250, you get a single-piece handlebar, but the overall rider's triangle on both the N250 and F250 is very similar. In fact, the rider's triangle is very close to the aging Pulsar 220F. Bajaj has worked really hard on this motorcycle, and although to some of you this might be too little too late, this new platform is going to bring to us a whole new range of Pulsars in the near future. The new Pulsar 250s ride on an all-new tubular frame chassis with the engine as a stretched member. There is no perimeter frame like the NS and RS siblings. But Bajaj tells us that the new Pulsar 250 is stiffer in all axes compared to the old P220F and stiffer in two parameters compared to the NS. Now that is an achievement while keeping cost in check. Bajaj has also made generous use of glass-filled nylon structure on this bike for weight saving as well as durability. Just the weight on the chassis is almost 0.8 kg less than the P220 and almost 3 kg less than the NS. All said and done, the Pulsar N250 tips the scale at 162 kg, 2 kg lighter than the semi-fat sibling. Don't get us wrong though, the NS200 is still a lighter motorcycle than this bike, weighing at just 159 kilograms. Now let's talk about the biggest change. In 2021, the Bajaj Pulsar has become a quarter-liter motorcycle. Now this is the biggest Pulsar ever. Powering the N250 is a 249cc single-cylinder air-oil-cooled, fuel-injected SOHC 2-valve motor. This all-new block produces 24.5 PS of power at 8,750 rpm and 21.5 Nm of torque at 6,500 rpm. For reference, the Pulsar 220 produces 20.4 PS and 18.55 Nm, while the NS200 produces 24.5 PS and 18.7 Nm. So this new Pulsar 250 is promising the best of both worlds. Real-world usable power in an accessible rev range and at a reasonably affordable price tag. The asking price over the old P220 is not huge, but you are getting a lot more motorcycle for the money. In this format, only the Suzuki 250 siblings are more powerful and torquey, but they are far more expensive. Bajaj claims that these new 250s would deliver an ARAI certified mileage of 39 kmpl, while the real world figure would be close to 35 kmpl. Both the power and torque curves are flat, offering a smooth riding experience, so this bike can easily be your beginner quarter-liter motorcycle. Now some of you might have been waiting for the top speed number. In the limited time that we had, I managed to achieve a top WAC of 134 kmph on the N250, while the F250 managed 141 km/h thanks to better wind protection. Both these bikes have more focus on torque delivery and mid-range performance, but still, this top speed number is respectable. Of course, with a lighter rider and a longer stretch of road, you can do much more. 85% of the torque is easily available for day-to-day riding, so you won't necessarily have to twist the throttle all the time. Also, the throttle twist is a little too much in my opinion. Bajaj is offering you a 5-speed gearbox matched to a slipper assist clutch. Clutch action is light and the gearbox feels very smooth and precise even when pushing hard. Cost was a primary reason not to give a 6-speed unit, but Bajaj claims that the gear spread on this bike is much better than competition with a 6-speed gearbox. If you've been wondering why there aren't multiple spark plugs on this bike, well, blame the emission norms for that. Bajaj has worked really hard on the NVH package and it will impress you. For a Pulsar, these bikes feel very refined, unlike any motorcycle of the past. Vibrations are very well controlled even at higher revs, with only a mild buzz felt when you are feeling the need for speed. Even the exhaust has been developed keeping in mind the NVH, and the bike does sound good for a single cylinder setup. Riding the Pulsar N250 is very easy. I am 5 feet 8 inches in height and the bike fit me just right. The handlebar is nice and wide, the knee recesses are accommodating on the fuel tank, and even the seat has ample room to move around. The foot pegs are mildly rear set, not too aggressive, making the Pulsar 250 an ideal street bike as well as a fun package on those weekend getaways. With the Pulsar, you are now getting a monoshock for the first time along with a conventional telescopic front fork. The rake angle is tighter than the NS and the weight bias is close to 50-50. The Pulsar N250 is quite a neutral handling motorcycle and you don't really have to go through a long learning curve. The motorcycle is almost plug and play, buy it and you can exploit its potential easily. The saddle height is very accessible at 795mm, so shorter riders are welcome too. With 165mm of ground clearance, you will have little to worry when riding over bad roads. Ride quality is compliant for most parts and daily commutes will not leave you tired. However, if you are riding this motorcycle fast into corners, you might feel that the suspension is a little soft in case you encounter an undulation. In a straight line, thanks to the long 1351mm wheelbase, stability is acceptable. We saw a few comments after the launch demanding for a fatter rear tire, but this tire profile has been selected for agility and mileage. Easy handling within the city has been the primary focus here. Brakes did a decent job in the little time that we had with the bike, but dual channel ABS is sorely missed. I found myself locking up the rear tire very frequently on the 250s. The MRF Zapper tires are a familiar rubber compound and they are decent for the mass market requirement. So the big question is the big Pulsar going to make a big difference? The answer to that is tricky and it all depends on what you are looking for in a motorcycle. If a neutral handling machine with enough poke for the city is what you desire, the Pulsar fits the bill just right. This bike will also take you places easily and affordably. Never forget Bajaj's low cost of ownership, which is why the Pulsar brand is what it is right now. But if you want all the latest bells and whistles, Bajaj has to up their game and offer that little bit extra to make the Pulsar a value champion again.
So guys, what is your opinion about this all new Bajaj Pulsar N250? Do you like it? Do you dislike it? Do you think this bike makes sense? Do you think it will keep you entertained for your city commutes and also on your weekend rides? If you have any other queries about this bike, ask me. I will try my best to help you out. Goodbye. Always ride safe. Always wear your helmet. Subscribe to the Shifting Gears channel. Press that bell icon. Stay notified. And do remember to check out the video of the Pulsar F250, which is also live on our channel.